Right. Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, as always, I'd like to start off by giving all the praises, honor, and the glory to Yahawah, Bashim, YAHAWASHI, Bahashim, Kakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and then to the elders of Great Millstone. GMS would tell me this truth. Honors to the brethren in the Akim that is pushing out this truth with all sincerity and in faith. And to Wadi Yahawah, Bashim, YAHAWASHI for allowing me once again to come back with another lesson. And the title of this lesson is simply going to be titled The Righteous and the Wicked Contrast. Okay. Now, one of the words that I came across in this verse is obviously the word contrast, which basically, you know, basically in like a, it's, to keep it short and sweet, the word contrast means to basically it goes to show, basically to compare something to another and to show that their differences, you know, like up and down, their contrast, they're not the same, they have their differences. Hot and cold, their contrast, they have their differences. And with the righteous and the wicked, they have their differences as well. They're different from one another, polar opposite, set side by side from one another. Okay, all right, they're not the same. Okay, and one of the verses, or I guess small little chapter, I'd like to say, because it is a small chapter and it's one of the first books, the books of Psalms, and we'll read it, and I know there'll be other precepts to go along with this topic. This is Psalms 1 and 1. It says, "Blessed is the man," and I pray and I hope, once again, I don't know if I said it, but if I didn't, I'll say it here now again, or for once. I pray and hope that this lesson is edifying. But it's the Psalms 1 and 1. "Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly." And that's right, because when you walk in the counsel of when you walk, if you choose to, you choose to walk in a wicked way, a wicked path, it tends to lead to, destruction. It tends to, or it doesn't tend, it will, and eventually in due time, it'll lead to destruction. It'll lead to no good thing, okay? And when you don't walk in that way, when you try to walk in a righteous way, basically, walking uprightly, you become blessed because you're doing the things that are pleasing in the sight of the Most High. The things that are pleasing in Yahawah Bashim Yahawashi. Okay, and you are blessed. Like when you go. Matter of fact, let's go here real quick. This is a quick precept. This is well, here you go. Contrast the upright and the wicked. So this is Proverbs 1 or 11 and 1. It says, "A false balance is an abomination to the Lord." And so, like, too much of one and not enough for the other, it's it's not a just weight. It's not balanced. You see that with children. You see it all the time. Like, you have a cup. They'll say they're gonna, "Oh, I want juice," right? And you got two kids, and they're clear. The cups are see-through clear, and you pour a little bit too much on one of the kids' cup, and then the other one has less. That's a false balance. And children, without even knowing, they see that, and they're like, "Fuck that! I want as much as him, if not more." And you have to balance it out. Otherwise, it's just gonna be crying and complaining, and it's not cool. It ain't cool, man. So a false balance is an abomination, which an abomination is something that is disgusting in the sight of the Most High. Okay, but when you read on, it says, "But a just weight, balanced weight, is His delight." So a balanced weight, you know, a balanced weight is it's even. Like let's say we make like $1,000 for a day, right? And it was me and another guy that did the work. I'd split that to balance it out. To balance that out, you would what? You'd split it 50-50. That's fair. So it'd be 5 and 5, 500, 500. Okay, and that there's a just weight. So the Most High likes a balanced weight. But it says, verse 2, and it says, when pride cometh, then cometh shame. But with the lowly, which are the humble, is wisdom. And it says, the integrity of the upright shall guide them, but the perseverance, but the perseverance of transgressors shall destroy them. It says, riches profit not in the day of wrath. So you could have all the money, all the whatever you want, all the jewelry, whatever. In the day of the Heavenly Father's wrath, when he lets his anger, extreme anger loose, whatever riches, money, gold, silver you got ain't gonna mean jack shit when he comes, okay? It says, riches profit not in the day of wrath, but righteousness delivereth from death. And what is righteousness? Following after really the laws, the statutes, the commandments of the Most High YAHAWASHI. We're gonna look up the definition real fast. Or
here's the definition of righteousness: the quality of being morally right or justifiable.
So goodness, virtual, having integrity to a degree. So little integrity is better than none. A lot of people they don't know what that even means, integrity. But it says, but righteousness delivereth from death. So the good things that you do can deliver you from harm. It can deliver you from the wrath of the Heavenly Father, because he does have wrath. It's just as he has love, he has anger. Okay, it's just that's the balance there too. But it says the righteousness of the perfect shall direct his way, right? But the wicked shall fall by his own wickedness. You see, and you going down a wicked path, you're gonna fall by your own deeds, your own wickedness. And it says the righteousness of the upright shall deliver them, but transgressors shall be taken in their own naughtiness, meaning their own, BS that they're going through. And when you're doing something wrong, it'll hit you in your heart, in your soul. But it says, when the wicked man dieth, his expectation shall perish. But the hope of and it says, and the hope of the unjust man perisheth. The righteous is delivered out of trouble, and the wicked cometh in his stead. You see? And so it's showing you that the benefits of the righteous of the righteousness of the perfect is gonna direct his way into safety, into out of the way of fire. But the way of the wicked is gonna get him in trouble, 100%, no doubt about it. So it says, blessed is the man, and when you look up this word blessed, right? Let's look it up right quick. Blessed, happiness, blessedness, often used as an interjection. Blessed are they. So it's a good thing to be. Hey, when somebody say, hey, there's this Jake out here where I live. Jake, he be, out there. I'll be driving, I see him every now and then. I'll ask the brother, I'll give him some money or whatever, and I'll ask him, hey, how you doing? He'd be like, oh, I'm blessed, brother. He has a beautiful spirit upon him. So, that there is good. But he'd be like, I'm blessed, I'm happy. Even when the days that he's not, even when the days when it's hard, he still shows, he shows a good spirit. It's a beautiful thing to see. Even when our people are in a low state, they still are thankful, at least to be alive. But it says, blessed the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, which is the wicked, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law doeth he meditate day and night. And that's what we do. We meditate on these words, the prophecies, the things that will and must surely come to pass. All these things. Okay? And it says, and he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water. Which, if a tree is planted by rivers of water, it's going to prosper. It's going to be good. The rain will help it, but just that there being where it is, it's going to flourish. And the rivers, and like when you read like David's Psalms, he's like, he leaves me beside the still waters. and by the green pastures, it's all a representation of what the word is. You know, the word is honey. You know, the word is meat. You know, milk. You know, you start with the milk because you're a baby coming into this, and you work your way up. You can't just come into this and then have, you know, a steak. You might end up choking because you're new. You're a babe. You're new to this. So you start with the milk, and then you progressively, as it goes on, you build your way up. You go up that pyramid. It's like working out. You start low, and you go up. And it says, and he shall prosper, and Aslakia, and it says, and he shall be like a tree planted by the rock, by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in the season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. The ungodly are not so. Which the ungodly or the wicked, they're not going to be like the river. They're not going to be like a tree planted by the rivers of water. They're going to be like, they're going to be like the dead fig tree, just not prospering or bringing forth anything, you know, just a tree with no leaves and just dead branches. But it says, but are like the chaff which the wind driveth away. Right, like dust and like tears and rain, it just goes away, it's just gone. And therefore the ungodly shall not stand in the seat. And it says, and therefore the ungodly shall not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. For the Lord knoweth how. So it says, for the Lord knoweth the way of the righteous, but the way of the ungodly shall perish. And that's what we had just read in the book of Proverbs 11. So I guess the message is to walk in truth, you know, walk in the light, walk in the way of, hey, like Yahawashi said. He said, what? I am the light. I am the way, you know. Let's grab that. This is St. John chapter 8 and 12. And it says, Yahawashi is the light of the world. It says, and then spake Yahawashi again unto them, saying, I am the light of the world, and he that followeth me shall not walk in darkness, but he shall have the light of life. You see? And it says, well, that one's good, and there's also another one where he's like, is this it? I believe this is it. Yep. Yeah, this is it. This is, I'll read it again. Verse 12. Then Yahawashi spake again unto them, saying, I am the light of the world, and he that followeth after me shall not walk in darkness. You see? So if you're going to walk in the light would represent the righteous. You know, the darkness would represent the wicked. If you walk in the light, how could you ever walk in darkness, you know? But it says, but shall have the light of life, you see, which is having this word, this wisdom, this knowledge, this understanding, and not being in complete darkness, and not being like those that sleep, you know, as do others. You know, we don't sleep. You know, we're the ones that are unplugged, we're awake. And you want to walk, you know, after the Heavenly Father, walk after, you know, the Most High, YAHAWASHI. Okay? See the comment. But yeah, basically, you know, that was about it. Just, you know, just walking after righteousness. You know, seeking after the Lord. You know, seeking, what is that? Matthew 6, I want to say. No, this ain't it. But just walking after righteousness, walking after the way, you know. The scriptures say that they that come to worship me how's it go? It says, he that worship me was worship me in a spirit, right? And in truth. And that's what we have to do as well. And I'll go ahead and then here, this is St. John 4:23. And it says, "But the hour cometh, and now is, when the true worshippers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth. For the Father seeketh such to worship him. And the heavenly Father is the Spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth." And that's what we must do to the best of our ability. All right. But I'm going to go ahead and end here through the Spirit. I pray this lesson was edifying, exhorting, and comforting. And as always, I want to give all praises, honor, and the glory to YAHAWAH, YAHAWASHI, Bahashim, Rakak Dash. And it's on to the next one, brothers. Shalom.